Human beings are at the top of the food chain and feared by most animals on land. But the second we enter the water, we sink to the very bottom of the food chain. The following story is by far one of the most gruesome and horrific we've told, and is widely regarded as the most brutal shark attack in recorded history. Hit that like button and subscribe right now. This is the gut-wrenching tragedy of Shirley Ann Durdin. Welcome to Final Affliction. Port Lincoln is a town in the Australian state of South Australia on the Lower Eyre Peninsula. Widely regarded as Australia's seafood capital, Port Lincoln is also a famous tourist destination due to its stunning scenery and oceanfront environment. It's a perfect location for yachting, scuba diving, shark cage diving, and game fishing. It has an exquisitely complex ecosystem with a variety of different wildlife, such as gray kangaroos, koalas, brown snakes, blue-tongued lizards, geckos, and pygmy possums. Port Lincoln is also home to a thriving population of dangerous yet majestic aquatic sea creatures, including jellyfish, whales, and of course, great white sharks. The great white shark is without question one of the ocean's most terrifying apex predators. It stands out among other members of the shark family due to its size, with males averaging 3.5 to 4 meters, and the females often reaching 5 meters. Although rare, some females can reach an astonishing 6.1 meters in length and 1,900 to 2,200 kilograms in weight, weighing more than most standard SUVs. Their jaws are capable of delivering a devastating bite force of over 4,000 psi. The great white is armed with over 300 individual razor-sharp teeth, up to 6 inches in length, and can easily tear a full-grown human in half within seconds. Despite its reputation as a mindless killing machine, it's the belief of many lead scientists that the great white shark is in fact a highly intelligent, highly inquisitive predator. Its primary prey, seals and dolphins, are very clever animals, and the shark has evolved a sophisticated brain in order to sneak up and outsmart them. Few can think of a more terrifying scenario than being stranded in the middle of the ocean, floating atop the dark blue waters, when suddenly you are horrified by the sight of a large gray fin circling around you. Tragically, what may be regarded as a nightmare for some people became a reality for Shirley Ann Durdin and her family. 33-year-old Shirley was a housewife who lived alongside her husband Barry, along with their 4 children, in an Australian town known as Carcoo. Ever since they got married, the couple dreamed of one day abandoning the boring old farm life and living by the beach. So when Barry told her he'd finally managed to secure a home for them near Port Lincoln Beach, Shirley was overwhelmed with joy. After settling in, the couple spared no effort in enjoying their new home and would spend many days relaxing by the beach, sunbathing, fishing, and scuba diving. Life seemed perfect for the couple, and they couldn't be happier. One day, a friend of Barry's, Keith Coventry, came over on a visit and asked the couple if they'd like to go scuba diving in search of fresh scallops. The couple, who were no strangers to scuba diving, couldn't resist the temptation of yet another exciting day in their personal paradise. On March 3, 1985, the trio arrived at the beach and began putting on their diving gear, informing the kids they'd be gone for a while. Not wanting to waste any time, the 3 adults swam into the 7 feet deep water and began scouring for scallops. As they were busy looking for the delicious delicacy, a dark figure was watching from the shadowy waters, a gigantic, bloodthirsty great white shark, estimated to be about 20 feet in length. Full-grown great whites rarely, if ever, venture close to shallow waters, so the trio didn't feel the need to watch their backs or be attentive. They knew the odds of a shark encounter is astronomically low, and even if they did encounter a shark, only a fraction of them actually end in a fatality. Most recorded bite incidents occur in low-visibility waters, or in other settings that impair the shark's senses. The species, more often than not, appears to dislike the taste of humans. According to studies on the sharks, they can detect whether or not an object is worth preying on after just one bite. Humans are for the most part too bony for the shark's liking. Great whites tend to favor seals because of how plump and high in protein they are. Rather than being eaten alive, most shark attack fatalities are often the result of blood loss after the initial bite. Between 1990 and 2011, there were 139 unprovoked great white shark attacks, and only 29 of them were fatal. Shirley and the men knew all these facts and felt relatively safe in the clear, shallow waters they were diving in. What they didn't know, however, was that an extremely desperate shark starving for a meal was lurking nearby. No healthy great white shark would venture into waters as shallow as the waters they were in. After filling up their bags with fresh scallops, Barry and Keith made their way to the beach where the kids were playing. Shirley, on the other hand, was too busy admiring the gorgeous underwater scenery to notice the looming threat behind her. Finally deciding to head back to shore and join the others, Shirley resurfaced and began swimming toward the beach, waving to the two men and gleefully announcing how many scallops she had managed to catch for herself. As the two men waved back, Barry noticed something in the distance, a large gray fin growing bigger and bigger as it seemed to be dashing in Shirley's direction. Barry, who had finally realized what was about to happen, tried to warn Shirley of the danger behind her, although just before he could open his mouth, he saw something that left him speechless. The gut-wrenching sight of a shark's gaping mouth emerged from under his wife, flinging her helpless body several feet out of the water. The shark had its jaws clamped down over her entire lower body. As Shirley's body slammed back down into the water, her blood-curdling screams were all that could be heard as the beast tore her apart by viciously shaking its head. Shirley continued to struggle for several seconds before the beast finally dragged her down into the depths below. Then there was silence that would soon be broken by Shirley's lifeless body resurfacing. She was now missing her entire lower half and was floating face down in a sea of red. Barry screamed his wife's name in agonizing disbelief. Shirley's 4 children alongside Barry had just watched in horror as a great white shark tore apart their mother. Depending on the severity of the injury, the human body can survive without its lower half for up to 6 minutes. It's likely that Shirley was still alive after the shark let go of her. The pain of being bitten in half likely helped her fall into a state of unconsciousness, which is why she appeared to be completely lifeless after the initial attack. Barry, who was still in shock, yet desperate to try anything to save his wife, began running to the shore to rescue her. No matter how bad it looked, there was still a chance he could save her. Before he could even jump into the water, he was held back by Keith, who knew there was nothing that could be done. In a cruel and terrifying spectacle, the shark re-emerged. Its powerful jaws once again clamped down around Shirley, this time with a bite so strong it snatched Shirley's entire head clean off her body. Its tail smacked the water as it dove back down into the dark below once more. With what little hope he had of rescuing his wife now gone, Barry drifted back into a frozen state of shock, his eyes unblinking, unresponsive to Keith's pleas to step away from the water or his children's terrified cries. Shirley, who was now nothing more than a lifeless, headless torso, drifted away less than 50 yards from the family inside a pool of her own blood. Although Shirley was sadly dead, her tragedy was far from over. After arriving on the scene, rescuers attempted to retrieve her remains, but neither Shirley or the shark that took her life was ever found. As it was theorized, the savage shark had come back a third time for her torso before retreating into the deeper waters from where it came. The tragedy of Shirley Ann Durdin remains one of the most horrific and gruesome shark attacks in recorded history. A reminder that death can strike at any time. You never truly know what tomorrow has in store for you. Any moment can become your final affliction.